Hey guys, welcome back to Brian's Mysteries and Adventures on Trail. And today we are going to be talking about several different cases, but the main case that we're going to be focusing on is a 25-year-old Indonesian student, Vincent Ronaldo De Gea. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. He went missing on June 19th, 2020 in the Mt Rainier National Park area of Washington. That's located here in the United States. And I'm going to put up some maps as usual to give you guys an idea of where this happened and also get into a little bit more about the park. But his vehicle was found at the Longmire area of the park within the border of Mt Rainier National Park on June 22nd. De Gea was last seen wearing black pants, blue and white tie-dye shirt, and carrying a small drawstring type bag. Search crews went out looking for him simultaneously while they were looking for two other missing hikers, which we're going to talk about. Talal Sabbagh, who is 27, from Seattle. He was reported missing on June 22nd. Sabbagh had intended to hike the Paradise area of the trail on June 21st of 2020. His vehicle was found in the parking lot at Paradise, and crews quickly did a search of the area, but there were no signs of Sabbagh. Now, Matthew Bunker, the other gentleman in the picture, was descending. He had climbed up the mountain and was descending on skis with a partner, and he was believed to have fallen into a steep terrain near the Thumb Rock on Liberty Ridge, on the Liberty Ridge climbing route. It's not known what caused his fall, but they were approximately 10,400 feet in elevation. The National Park Service did send out a helicopter twice to search for Matthew Bunker, but severe downslope winds forced the helicopter to turn around both times before reaching the Liberty Ridge. Bunker was found deceased in a crevasse at the base of the cliff that was inaccessible by ground or aviation teams, according to the National Park Service. This area is apparently subject to continuous rock and ice fall, which pose a very high risk for rescue personnel to access the location to recover Matthew. Simultaneously, during all these rescues, they were dealing with late spring conditions, including widespread unstable snow bridges, putting the independent searchers at risk and potentially creating, new incidences, and also obscuring possibly clues to any of these guys' whereabouts. Although they had many searches out for Talal Sabbagh, he was not found until later in the summer when snow conditions improved, and he was found in August. Unfortunately, he was found deceased near the Paradise area of the trails, and it's unknown really, or I couldn't find what actually happened to him, whether it was a fall or an accident, but unfortunately he was found deceased. Now, De Gea hiked the Alta Vista Trail at Paradise on June 18th, and he was last seen on June 19th hiking the Van Trump Trail towards Milford Falls, and his car was found, like I said, at the Longmire 3 days later. Now, I know this is a lot of information, so as always, I'm going to have links in the description, and we're going to talk about this some more, but I just wanted to start off by giving you guys the details of what all these cases happened within basically a week of one another in June of 2020. Vincent De Gea is a 25-year-old Indonesian student, and he had been living in Seattle, and he was supposed to be home on June 19th of 2020, and when he didn't show up, that's when he was reported missing to the Pierce County Sheriff's Office. Now, I don't know, after they found his vehicle at the Longmire on June 22nd, they didn't really release any more statements as far as from the actual sheriff's office. Unfortunately, due to COVID, even though Mt Rainier had record crowds, that summer during the 4th of July, the visitor center and other facilities were closed at the park due to that. And even though the roads and hiking trails were open, it just wasn't as good of a situation if more of those facilities would have been open. It's just people hiking all over. A lot of people didn't know about these situations. And the park spokeswoman, Patty Wold, said in a statement that the early days of searching for Vincent De Gea were marked by unsettled, cooler weather with precipitation and very poor visibility above 6,000 feet. So here again, the weather played into it, and hindered the search efforts. But they did have personnel from several mountain teams, search and rescue units, as well as dog teams, aircraft were all involved in this search, as well as the other ones that we spoke about. The Tacoma Mountain Rescue conducted the ground and aerial searches for Vincent De Gea, as well as used forward-looking infrared radar to detect any heat being emitted in the area. A 31-person team set out to search the area the Thursday after De Gea disappeared, and they covered an overwhelming area, especially considering the conditions at the time. Vincent is 5'5", 165 pounds. He's got black hair and brown eyes. He sometimes wears glasses, and he has a tattoo of a Bible verse on one of his hips. The Parks Department at the time was working closely with the Indonesian consulate in San Francisco, as well as his family members. Tacoma Mountain Rescue, Seattle Mountain Rescue, Olympic Mountain Rescue, German Shepherd, Search Dog Team, Volcano Rescue Team, Washington State SAR Planning Unit, Mt Rainier National Park Search and Rescue teams have all participated in this search. And I just like to tell you guys that because I know that a lot of people don't realize what actually goes into some of these searches, and I just think it's important to know that, because I know a lot of the cases, when even they go unsolved, a lot of times people they want to blame someone or think the SAR didn't do enough or whatever, but I like trying to at least convey that to you, that in these cases a lot goes into these searches. Now in this particular search, they did advise and ask that the public not help because the terrain and everything was so dangerous, and they were even fearful of having some of their own rescuers injured. So it's understandable why they make those decisions in some cases, but unfortunately for Vincent De Gea, he is yet to be found, and no one has heard from him since that day. And I think one thing we can definitely learn from Vincent's case is that he was just going out for a day hike, but anytime that and yes, technically it was early summer, but in places like Mt Rainier, the nights can get down into the 40s and 30s even during midsummer. And even for day hikers, I think it's important to always remember, get yourself a lightweight puffy jacket. You can find one these days that are under 10 ounces. Carry an emergency blanket. And if you're going to be hiking alone, I highly recommend carrying a satellite device of some kind. I prefer the Garmin InReach because you can do text messages. It's got SAR or SOS feature, topo maps. Mt Rainier is obviously a beautiful place. As you can see in the pictures, it's obviously a great place to go and hike, but it also requires that you plan and prepare well. And I think if you take some of these precautions, it can help prevent future cases like this. And spring and fall are considered the shoulder seasons at Rainier, and in most places it's the time when the weather as well as trail and road conditions can change very quickly. In the spring particular, rivers run strong and melting snow, and many routes are still covered with snow that at higher elevations can linger well in through June and July. And conditions like thin snow, where running water is moving underneath it, so the snow is unstable, and the cornices and edges and snow moats around trees, logs, and rocks, these are all things that you want to be aware of, because they are things that can really get people into trouble. Now, the park has a website with various warnings and just other safety tips that I'll put in the description, but it's definitely something that you want to check out before going to these types of places, because you want to try and do these kind of hikes and adventures as safely as possible. And I'm not saying that Vincent or Matthew or Talal, they did anything wrong. I think they were just, victims of circumstance. In Matthew's case, he just was skiing down and probably lost an edge and fell over the cliff. And I can't speak intelligently what happened to Talal, but with Vincent, it's possible that maybe he's just suffered an injury or got lost. But what I'm saying is that if you do have these extra things with you, it can really help you out if you do get into a situation like this. If you have any information regarding Vincent's case, please contact the Pierce County Sheriff's Office at 360-569-6683 or 253-798-7530. Vincent is an Asian male. He is 5'5", 165 pounds. He's got black hair, brown eyes, a tattoo of a Bible verse on his hip, and he's sometimes known to wear glasses. He is thought to have been wearing a tie-dye t-shirt when he was last seen with a small little backpack. And I wanted to end this video with these candles for the boys that did lose their lives, and for Vincent as well, because they're all young kids. They're only in their, the kids that lost their lives were in their mid-20s, and Vincent is only 24. So, and all this, and to all the search and rescue teams and all the hundreds of people that work to try and bring these people home, I think they deserve our thoughts and prayers as well. My thoughts and prayers go out to all the search and rescue people, all the volunteers, everybody involved, and of course to all the families involved in all these cases who lost loved ones, and of course to Vincent De Gea and his family and friends. My thoughts and prayers, and hoping he can find his way home soon in one way or another. Thank you everybody for watching. As always, I appreciate all your support and feedback. Please leave me comments in the description if you have any feedback for me or information on this case. Special thank you to coag.ag for the music. I also wanted to let everybody know about some details of my upcoming trip. I'm going to be interviewing some people that have gone missing in the wilderness on it, or their adventures, and that survived and were rescued. So I'm going to be interviewing them, doing videos on their cases, and in hopes that we can just help educate and promote safer hiking, as well as meeting with some SAR teams. And so all that is coming up in the next month, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you again for watching.